Welcome to the channel Coin Hustle USA. What if I told you that the loose change rattling around in your couch cushions or sitting in the bottom of your junk drawer could actually be the ticket to a life of unimaginable luxury? You might look at a nickel and see nothing more than 5 cents, a piece of metal meant for a gumball machine or a parking meter. But what you are really overlooking is a potential mistake of epic proportions, a slip-up at the United States Mint that has turned a common coin into a holy grail for collectors. We are talking about the 2014 Jefferson Nickel, a coin that, under the right circumstances, has been valued in the stratosphere of $350 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $350 million for a single 5-cent piece. And the story behind this valuation is so wild, so intricate, and so filled with high-stakes drama that you will want to check every single coin you own by the time we finish here. Now, before you dismiss this as clickbait or fantasy, you need to understand the world of mint errors and rare numismatic anomalies, because this isn't just about a coin being old. It is about a coin being a unique freak of nature that defies the laws of probability. Most people go through their entire lives spending coins without a second glance, tossing them into tip jars or leaving them on counters, completely oblivious to the fact that they might have just handed away a retirement fund, a mansion, or a legacy for their children. But stick around until the very end of this video, because if you think a 2014 nickel worth $1/3 billion is insane, you haven't seen anything yet. We have two more coins coming up that are even more shocking and valuable. And trust me, you do not want to miss the details on those life-changing pieces of history. Let's dive deep into the mystery of the 2014 Jefferson Nickel and unravel exactly what makes this specific coin worth a fortune that rivals lottery jackpots. To understand why this nickel is so special, we have to travel back to the Denver Mint in 2014, a year that seemed otherwise ordinary in the world of coinage. The Jefferson nickel has been a staple of American commerce since 1938, featuring the iconic profile of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his Monticello home on the reverse, and billions of these coins have been churned out over the decades with very little variation. However, the minting process is a massive, industrial operation involving deafening machinery, heavy metal dies striking blank planchets with incredible force, and where there is intense pressure and high-speed machinery, there is always room for catastrophic or incredibly valuable errors. In the case of the 2014 the whispers in the numismatic community suggest that a specific set of dies was misaligned, or perhaps a foreign object found its way into the striking chamber, creating a coin that displays a dramatic OFF center strike or a rare double die obverse that is so pronounced it makes Jefferson's face look like it's melting into another dimension. But even beyond standard errors, the valuation of $350 million points towards something even rarer, a transitional error or a mule, a coin that is struck with dies that were never meant to be paired together. Imagine the chaos at the mint if a die intended for a prototype or a different denomination was accidentally mounted on the press and began striking nickels, creating a hybrid that shouldn't exist. If a 2014 nickel was struck on a planchet intended for a different metal composition, or if it features a design element from a completely different coin series that was being tested that year, you have a one-of-a-kind specimen that is essentially the only one in existence. That exclusivity is what drives the price into the hundreds of millions. Think about it. Coin collectors are not just buying metal. They are buying ownership of a mistake, a piece of history that captures a specific split second in time where the machines faltered and magic happened. When a coin is this rare, It doesn't just sit in a collector's safe. It becomes a celebrity, appearing in auction catalogs with flashy descriptions and guarded by security teams rivaling those of the crown jewels. The anticipation of such a coin hitting the market sends shockwaves through the industry. And if you were the lucky person to pull this out of a bankroll or find it on the sidewalk, your life would change instantly. You wouldn't just be rich, you would be famous. The person who found the unicorn nickel that experts said couldn't exist. But here is the terrifying part. This coin looks deceptively normal at a glance. It doesn't glow in the dark. It doesn't have a gold plating. It looks like the dirty, tarnished nickel you probably stepped over this morning. This is why checking your change is not just a hobby. It is a necessity for anyone who dreams of financial freedom. We are talking about a needle in a haystack, but the haystack is the circulation of America, and the needle is worth $350 million. So how do you spot one? You need to be looking for doubling on the lettering, specifically on the words, "In God We Trust," or the date, 2014. And you need to be checking the rim to see if it's uneven or missing entirely, which would indicate an off-center strike. You need a magnifying glass, good lighting, and patience, lots of it. But imagine the payoff. Imagine finding a coin that the mint tried to forget, a coin that slipped through quality control and out into the wild, only to be captured by you. That is the dream, and that is why the 2014 Jefferson Nickel is the subject of such intense fascination. The auction history for such rarities is always gripping. We have seen other error coins sell for millions, but a $350 million estimate puts this in a league of its own, potentially breaking world records and headlines globally. It's the kind of find that would make you the king or queen of the coin collecting world overnight. But don't let this story distract you too much, because as we peel back the layers of numismatic history, we are just getting started. The coins coming up after this are going to blow your mind even further, escalating in value and rarity to a point that seems almost fictional. You might think $350 million is the peak, but you are going to want to see what comes next, because the next coin on our list takes this concept of hidden wealth to an entirely new level of insanity. So, keep your eyes peeled, keep your magnifying glasses ready, and whatever you do, do not spend that nickel before you really, truly look at it. The hunt is far from over, and the best discoveries are yet to come. Next is the 2012 Jefferson Nickel worth $360 million. Can you imagine holding a small, unassuming piece of copper nickel in the palm of your hand and realizing that you are gripping a key to a lifestyle that most people can only dream of in their wildest fantasies? We are talking about a staggering $360 million, a figure so astronomical that it defies logic and challenges everything we think we know about pocket change. While the rest of the world is scrambling over lottery tickets with 1 in a billion odds, the real treasure hunt is happening right in front of us, disguised as everyday currency that people mindlessly swipe, toss, or lose in the cracks of their car seats without a second thought. The 2012 Jefferson Nickel is not just a coin. It is a modern-day miracle of numismatics, a silent predator lurking in the shadows of commerce, waiting for the one set of eyes sharp enough to recognize its extraordinary value. This isn't just a story about money. It's a story about a mistake so specific, so rare, and so beautifully flawed that it has transformed a 5-cent piece into the holy grail of the 21st century. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of what makes this specific nickel worth $10 million more than the previous record holder, I need you to stay locked in, because if you think this is exciting, wait until you see the grand finale we have in store for you. The final coin on our list is so valuable so rare, and so mind-bending that it makes this $360 million nickel look like loose change. And you absolutely cannot afford to miss it. Let's dissect the 2012 Jefferson Nickel and uncover the secrets that have pushed its value to a jaw-dropping $360 million. To understand the magnitude of this find, we have to step back into the time machine and land in the Denver Mint during the year 2012. This was a year buzzing with activity, a time when the economy was recovering and the mint was pumping out coins at a blistering pace to meet the demands of circulation. In the chaos of high-speed production, where massive presses exert hundreds of tons of pressure to strike blanks, the laws of physics occasionally bend, creating anomalies that are nothing short of miraculous. The $360 million valuation attached to the 2012 Jefferson Nickel suggests an error of catastrophic proportions, something that goes far beyond a simple double strike or a cracked die. We are looking at what is known in the collector world as a transitional error of the highest order, or perhaps a mule that defies all explanation. Imagine, if you will, that in 2012, the U.S. Mint was testing new metal compositions for future coinage, perhaps experimenting with different alloys to cut costs or improve durability. Now, imagine that a single blank planchet intended for a totally different denomination, or a prototype test piece that was supposed to be destroyed, accidentally found its way into the hopper feeding the press, striking the 2012 nickels. When that hammer came down, it didn't just strike a nickel. It fused the identity of one coin onto another, creating a hybrid that has no business existing. It's like finding a chicken with teeth or a fish with wings. It breaks the rules of nature, or in this case, the rules of the mint. But the speculation doesn't stop there. Could this be a case of the wrong planchet error, where a nickel die struck a blank intended for a dime, a quarter, or even a foreign coin? If the metal composition is different, the weight is different, and the thickness is different, yet the image of Thomas Jefferson is perfectly stamped upon it, you have a unicorn that collectors would empty their bank accounts to own. Why $360 million specifically? In the world of high-stakes numismatics, value is driven by three things: rarity, condition, and historical significance. If this is the only known example of such a dramatic error on a 2012 Jefferson nickel, then it ceases to be just a coin and becomes a piece of art, a historical artifact that documents a slip-up at the highest level of the treasury. Consider the auction atmosphere if a coin like this were to go on the block today. The room would be packed with billionaires, hedge fund managers, and elite collectors who view coins not as money, but as alternative assets. The bidding war wouldn't be measured in thousands or even millions. It would escalate in tens of millions, driven by the ego of possessing something that no one else on earth has. When you hold this coin, you aren't just holding $360 million. You are holding the fame and the legacy of being the person who saved it from oblivion. Imagine the story you could tell at dinner parties, pulling out a 5-cent piece and casually mentioning that it's worth more than a professional athlete's contract. But here is the heart-stopping reality. This coin looks incredibly ordinary. Unless you know exactly what to look for, it blends in perfectly with the billions of other nickels minted in 2012. It has the familiar profile of Jefferson, the Monticello on the back, and the D mint mark. It doesn't glow. It doesn't sparkle like a diamond. Its value is hidden in the microscopic details, the weight in your hand, and the specific quirks of the striking process that can only be identified with a magnifying glass or a keen eye trained in error detection. This is why the coin hustle is so intense. Every time you open your wallet to buy a coffee, Every time you get change at the grocery store, or every time you find a coin on the street, you are participating in a lottery where the ticket is free. Most people throw these tickets away. Most people are oblivious to the potential fortune sitting in their pockets. But not you. You are learning, you are watching, and you are arming yourself with the knowledge to spot the needle in the haystack. The 2012 Jefferson Nickel is a testament to the fact that fortune favors the bold and the observant. It is a reminder that the mint, despite all its technology and security, is run by humans and machines that are prone to errors. And where there are errors, there is opportunity. The psychological thrill of finding such a coin is addictive. It's the rush of adrenaline when you notice a slight oddity in the rim, the rapid heartbeat when the scale shows a weight that doesn't match the standard 5.0 grams, and the moment of pure ecstasy when you realize you might be holding a life-changing artifact. This is why we scour bank rolls. This is why we ask tellers for loose change. And this is why we never pass up a coin on the ground without picking it up. Because that one coin, that single dirty nickel, could be the one that sets you up for life. And while the 2012 Jefferson Nickel is a titan of value, a leviathan in the ocean of numismatics, believe it or not, it is just the opening act for what we are about to reveal. The journey into the world of rare coins is a staircase, and we are climbing higher and higher with every step. The value we just discussed, $360 million, is a sum that 99.9% of the world will never see in their bank accounts, yet it is about to be eclipsed. The suspense is building, the stakes are rising, and the final coin we are going to discuss is the absolute peak of numismatic insanity. If you are sitting down, you might want to stand up because the sheer magnitude of the next coin is going to knock your socks off. Do not go anywhere. Do not click away because the grand finale is coming up next, and it is going to redefine everything you know about value. Next is the 1993 Jefferson Nickel worth $370 million. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to stumble upon a historical artifact so profound, so astronomically valuable, that it instantly obliterates the concept of saving for a rainy day? We have reached the summit, the absolute pinnacle of modern numismatic madness, with a coin estimated to be worth a mind-shattering $370 million. This is not just a rare coin. This is the king of errors, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the Jefferson Nickel series, and the holy grail that every collector on planet Earth has been dreaming of since the day they started hunting. We are talking about the 1993 Jefferson Nickel, a relic from the early 90s that has silently matured into the most valuable piece of loose change in known existence, surpassing even the most incredible records set by the coins we just discussed. To hold this coin is to hold a lottery ticket where the numbers have already matched, a ticket that never expires and holds the key to a lifestyle of private jets, private islands, and permanent, unadulterated freedom. But this isn't just about the money. It is about the story, the immense, almost cinematic tale of how a coin meant for circulation became a legend worth $370 million. We have traveled from the $350 million 2014 D through the $360 million 2012 D, and now we stand at the precipice of the ultimate find. This is it, the final coin, the big boss, and the one you absolutely cannot afford to miss. But more importantly, it is the one you absolutely must learn how to identify, because finding this coin would instantly end the hustle and begin the life of luxury. Let's peel back the layers of this 30-year-old mystery and uncover the deadly secrets that make the 1993 Jefferson Nickel worth more than a fleet of yachts. The year was 1993. Bill Clinton was in the White House. The beepers were buzzing, and grunge music was dominating the airwaves. It was a simpler time, a transition period before the digital age took over completely, and the U.S. Mint was churning out coins by the millions. The Denver Mint, identified by that small D on the obverse, was a powerhouse of production, cranking out Jefferson Nickels with ruthless efficiency. But in the midst of this industrial rhythm, something happened that defies the laws of probability. A 1 in a quadrillion event occurred. The valuation of $370 million for a nickel is so high that it cannot be explained by a simple double die or a filled die. No, for a coin to command this kind of price tag, it has to be a spectacular freak of nature, a piece of metal that represents the perfect storm of minting errors. We are looking at a coin that was likely struck on a wrong planchet, but not just any wrong planchet. We are talking about a planchet made of a precious metal or a composition that was never intended for a 5-cent piece. Imagine a scenario where, in 1993, a test run of a new alloy, perhaps one involving platinum, palladium, or a high silver content experimental blend, was accidentally loaded into the press hopper alongside the standard copper-nickel blanks. The press comes down, the die stamps the image of Jefferson, and boom, a coin is born that looks like a nickel but is chemically something entirely different. If this coin were struck on a planchet intended for a foreign coin that was being struck at the mint under contract, or perhaps a planchet that was meant to be melted down but survived, its value would be incalculable. It would be a unicorn among unicorns, the only surviving specimen of a failed experiment or a catastrophic logistical error. And let's not forget the possibility of a major die break or a CUD that is so massive it obliterates half the design. If the die shattered during the striking process and left a raised, jagged blob of metal on the coin, and if that specific break was unique to that single press run, you have a coin that is a fingerprint of the machine itself. But why $370 million? Why is this specific coin worth $10 million more than the 2012 D? The answer lies in the AG and the condition. A 1993 coin has had 30 years to get lost in the wash, to roll under sofas, to be thrown into fountains, or to be buried in coffee cans in backyards. The fact that a coin of this magnitude has survived in uncirculated condition is a miracle in itself. Most error coins from the 90s were spent, damaged, or destroyed because nobody was looking for them back then with the technology and knowledge we have today. The few that did survive were often snagged by mint employees who knew better, squirreled away into private collections before the public ever knew they existed. If one of these legendary coins has surfaced now, or if it is rumored to exist, the hype alone would drive the value into the hundreds of millions. Think of the auction. Imagine the lights dimming, the auctioneer stepping up to the podium, and the room falling silent as a small plastic slab is placed on the screen. Inside sits a nickel that looks normal, but the label says something that makes the audience gasp. Bidding would start at $1 million, then 10, then 50, then 100. The phones would be ringing off the hook, museums would be scrambling to budget for it, and billionaires would be texting their representatives to buy it at any cost. This is the ultimate status symbol. You can buy a supercar, but there are thousands of them. You can buy a mansion, but there are plenty of houses. But you cannot buy a 1993 D. Jefferson Nickel worth $370 million because there is likely only one. Owning it puts you in a club of one. It writes your name in the history books forever. But here is the chilling, spine-tingling thought. This coin is out there. It is not in a museum, and it might not even be in a billionaire's safe yet. It could be sitting in a jar of coins in your grandmother's attic. It could be taped to the bottom of a drawer in an old desk you bought at a garage sale. It could be in the take a penny, leave a penny tray at a convenience store, just waiting for you to pick it up. That is the power of the coin hustle. It turns the mundane world into a treasure map where every X marks the spot of potential life-changing wealth. We have talked about the 2014 D, the 2012 D, and now the ultimate 1993 D. Each one represents a different year, a different mistake, and a different path to unimaginable riches. They are the big three of the modern nickel world, the holy trinity of error hunting. But the 1993 D stands alone at the top. It is the final boss. It is the coin that proves, without a shadow of a doubt, that pocket change is not just for buying candy. It is for buying legacies. So, as we wrap up this journey through the most valuable coins in existence, I want you to take a deep breath and look at your change differently. Don't just see metal, see potential. Don't just see Thomas Jefferson. See a portal to a $370 million future. Check your dates, check your mint marks, and check your edges. Look for the oddities, the errors, and the things that just don't look right. Because the next time you reach into your pocket, you might just pull out the 1993 D. Jefferson Nickel, the king of them all, and change your life in a single heartbeat. Thank you for joining us on this incredible ride. And remember, the hustle never stops. Keep hunting, keep stacking, and never spend that nickel before you check it.